الآن يمكنكم المشاركة في مبادرة الأيام الرقمية تحت شعار انطلق بقوة مع جوجل، والتي يتناول فيها خبراء جوجل عناوين جديدة أسبوعيا مثل السحابيات، مهارات من جوجل، أندرويد، فلتر، ذكاء الآلة، Firebase، ديزاين ثينكينج، مقسمة إلى دورات وورشات عمل يومية بالإضافة إلى مسابقات أسبوعية. شاهد الأيام الرقمية مباشرة على اليوتيوب وشارك رأيك وأسئلتك مع خبراء جوجل، واحصل على شهادة حضور في كل محاضرة تشترك فيها. هذا وأكثر من الأحد إلى الخميس ابتداء من الساعة 9 بتوقيت دبي عبر الرابط المبين youtube.com/GDG-MENA.
Hello all, welcome to our Google I/O Extended. We are here today to show you the newest updates in Tensorflow, Flutter, Go and Android. But before, let me benefit from this opportunity to talk more about us, GDSCs in Lebanon. We are 8 chapters today. AUB, Chapter AUB, BAU, Lebanese University, LAU, Lebanese International University, Rafiq Hariri University, and St. Joseph University. This year, we made a great progress. By the collaboration we did throughout the year, we reached a wider audience and we gained more members, and as GDSC Leads, we helped each other by providing support to one another in the events. To show you some numbers, as you see, a new chapter in Rafiq Hariri University was founded, and now the total number of members is approximately 995 students, and we were able to reach and train 3,687, and we hope for next year the progress will be even more and more. And also I would like to talk about the DevFest, this event that took place on the 27th of November. More than 300 students coming from all across Lebanon gathered in BAU, Tripoli. It was a huge event where we had the chance to meet each other and to learn from experienced professionals that came to give us insights about the latest technologies such as cryptocurrency, Angular, Diagaflow, Flutter, and many others.
Okay, thank you so much for the introduction, and I'm now going to tell you more about the new additions that are specifically for the machine learning in Google I/O. So before I start, I would like to show you a little bit about the pipeline of machine learning. So as you might have seen before, to go into the process of developing a machine learning model, there are 4 essential steps that we have to go through as machine learning developers. And starting from data ingestion and pre-processing, where we have to deal with data, collect it, clean it, and even prepare it, into model creation, and then later on deployment, and then monitoring and maintenance, and the cycle continues. So it's important that in this phase, Google has provided for us new additions that will not only allow us to build efficient machine learning models, but also allow us to build them responsibly. And by responsibly, I mean to make sure that we are not doing anything that can be unethical or can provide disadvantages to our community. So I'll be going through the steps one by one and tell you more about the additions that have been included in this addition of machine learning. So starting with data ingestion and pre-processing, TensorFlow has now new support for different data sets that we can use as machine learning developers. So within few lines of code, you can have a whole data set provided for you in order to train your machine learning model. And this can be really useful because now data is really important and it's becoming more and more available for us. So TensorFlow has provided for us a new library that we can just get data sets from. So for example, if you are training a machine learning model that detects the diseases in crops, you can just use this data set that you can see on the screen that has different pictures for different plants having diseases, and you can just test it out on your model in order to see how well it performs. And of course, you can then later on see its accuracy and maybe fine-tune it or add a new data set that can help you more for your special use case. So moving on, a new also addition that has that's really useful for this part of the process is the TensorFlow Data API. And since the data that we get is not as clean as we hope it is, we have to go through the process of cleaning it, know the correlation that we have between the different features in our data set. And here's where the TensorFlow data API comes in handy, because using this feature, we can just spot any biases we have in our data and understand the correlation between the different features, as I previously mentioned. So you can just use this model to make sure that your data is as clean as possible, because the cleaner that the data set that you have, and the more diverse and the more knowledge that you know about your data, the better your model will be at the end. So it's really important to spend some time in this process of in this step of the process in order to make sure that you have the best data possible. So next step is building the model. So this involves using APIs, maybe using pre-trained models if you think that you can that they can be helpful for you. So the TensorFlow Lite model maker it would be really beneficial for you in this step, especially if you are a mobile app developer and you want to include some machine learning in your app. So using the TensorFlow Lite model, this can simplify lots of the complex tasks involved in building the model. And this can range from training the model, knowing what model do you want to use, and it allows you to build better models and with fewer lines of code. So you can see that before using the TensorFlow Lite model maker, you can write up to many lines of code. However, with this new addition to your machine learning process, you can just decrease them to very few lines of code. Next, we have the TensorFlow Lite task library. And since as machine learning developers, we are used to working with bitmaps and strings. However, when it comes to working with tensors, they might be a little bit complex. So using the TensorFlow Lite task library, it reduces the computations or the complex steps involved in working with tensors, and helps us to build models that can also be used on multiple platforms. So the last thing in this process is that I want to talk about in this session is the new model types. So this is a new addition, and I think it's really nice because as you can see on the screen, for example, we have a cake picture. And in your camera roll, for example, if you have a cake picture and you'd like to search for other cake pictures in your camera roll, all you have to do is just use this new feature that allows you that displays for you all the pictures that have similar objects or similar content to the picture that you are currently searching for. So we can get like all the cake pictures that we have in our camera roll, and I think it's really nice. And it's also available on iOS and Android. So you can maybe try it out. So next is the model deployment. So after we have our model prepared, it's now time to deploy it. And what's really nice about working with TensorFlow is that we can deploy it almost anywhere we want. So it can be either on cloud, web, browser, maybe embedded system. So anywhere, it's almost anywhere. So it's really efficient and reliable to use to build models using TensorFlow. So what I'm talking about now is TensorFlow Extended, because it's basically a pipeline that has end-to-end process for deploying machine learning pipelines. So as you can see from the picture, starting with the data part up till the pusher, or where you actually deploy the model, it has support for all the components that allow you to implement a complete machine learning pipeline. So next, if you are a fan of websites, or you are a web developer, TensorFlow JavaScript is really helpful for you. And the new addition that has been added is the Coral Edge TPU. And it has support in a library called tfjs-tflite-node. And in this library, it allows you to run the TensorFlow models, which are basically models made with TensorFlow, but they are of smaller size, that allows us to deploy them on websites. So it has a new support on Coral Edge TPU that allows you to run these models on devices like Raspberry Pi and other similar devices. So here is, I think, what is the most exciting part of what I'm going to say today is the pre-made models that Google has provided for us. So you can see here on the screen that we have few additions that are colored in yellow. And that has been the new pre-made models that has been added by Google this year. And they are really cool. I will not be able to show you all of them in this session, but I really recommend that you have a look at them, maybe in the full Google I/O extended videos. So, but I included 3 of them that I'll be going over now. So the first one is the 3D photos. So if you are developing a website and you'd like to include some dynamics for the pictures that you have, you can try this 3D photos that Google has launched this year, and allows you to have your pictures displayed as in a 3D mode, and it's as if they are moving. So since I added pictures and I could not add a video, so it would not really be clear for you from just seeing the picture how it looks like in real life. But I really recommend that you go see them, and it looks just like the pictures are moving and in a 3D shape. So it's I think it will look good on your website. The next one is 3D character animation. So if you are a fan of games or fans of animation, that would be a really cool addition when you're deploying or developing something. So as you can see on the small screen on the left, I hope it's clear for you. When you're moving, it will understand what your posture is like, and it will have an avatar or a 3D character animation that will be moving just the same way as you're moving. So if you're doing something involving animation, I think it would be really nice to have this feature included. So last not least is the 3D pose that has been developed by MediaPipe, and it provides for you an accurate estimation of your current joints and how you are moving. So it provides for you like accurate dimensions of how exactly the character or the person that you are tracking is moving. So I think it's really nice if you want to, for example, develop like an action recognition or a pose estimation addition to your model. I think it would be nice. And that's for me, and I will hand it on to my colleague who will be talking to you about Firebase.
Hello everyone. Now I'm gonna talk about Firebase. للي ما بيعرف Firebase, it's used as a backend for web applications and mobile applications. So the first addition to Firebase is an addition to Firebase extension events. Extension events, which for those that don't know, allow you to will now allow you to plug into the runtime of an extension and extend its functionality with your own code. Extension event gives you the power to build on top of the integration, support your custom use case and business workflow. For example, if you are using the run payments with Stripe extension for subscription billing, you can now write your own custom code to trigger a discount offer when a customer cancels their payment. There are new release of third-party extensions for marketing, search, and payment processing. As you can see now on screen, bas can go back. Thank you. 4 new third-party applications. First of all, 2 new extensions from Snapchat, which allows you to log in with Snapchat and to promote products in their stories. With Stream extensions, you can now implement chat in your app and respond to users in real time. Now with Revenue Cat, it helps you manage in-app subscriptions, while last, TypeSense, it's an open source option for implementation, indexing, and search in Cloud Firestore. Now next, many of us use modern web frameworks like React, Angular, Vue, Next.js, and so on to build apps and deploy them to be more scalable. We want them to be more scalable, visually compelling web apps. Deploying these apps on Firebase needs to be simpler. So now it's possible to deploy modern web apps thanks in one command, Firebase deploy. Now you can spend less time worrying about backend details and more time building features for your web apps. Because when you deploy your web app using Firebase hosting, you will get the full power of a global fast CDN, security out of the box, and the classic ease of use that define our platform. You can try the developer preview of Next.js and Angular Universe today by downloading the latest Firebase CLI, and there will be more frameworks to follow in the future. Now to talk about the mobile development side for Android and iOS. First of all, there is Flutter. Can you go to next slide, please? And first of all, Flutter. For those that don't know what Flutter is, it's a Google open source framework for building natively compiled multi-platform apps from a single code base. So you won't have to write a one for iOS, another for Android. Now, all the Firebase plugins for Flutter have moved to general availability. They were on beta testing, now it's for general. And there is now an official Flutter documentation, snippets, and customer support, so you can confidently use Flutter and Firebase together. Now, as for Swift, the same implementations have been done. There is now an official documentation to use for Firebase and customer support. Next, please. Now, it's critical to test your apps before you release it to the public, so users don't find bugs you missed and leave negative reviews on your App Store listing. With Firebase app distribution, Firebase app distribution helps you distribute pre-release version of your app to trusted testers, so you can get valuable feedback before launch. Now, app distribution has also graduated out of beta into general availability with new features that further streamline your testing workflow and allow you to customize it to suit your needs. Specifically, they've added simplified group access, release auto deletion, and bulk tester management in both the console and in the new public API. And with the new Android SDK, you can now notify testers that a new version is available directly inside the app, so your tester always stay up to date. Now, with Firebase performance monitoring, for those that don't know what Firebase performance monitoring is, it gathers and presents data about your app performance, so you know exactly what's happening in your app. And when users are experiencing slowness from the point of view, that was a few months ago. They've released now performance alert to keep you informed of latency issues that could affect your app start time. As part of this feature that graduated now to general availability, you can set up new alerts for custom code traces, network requests, screen renderings, and web traces for the most critical parts of your app, and customize them to your own thresholds. With performance alerts, you can release your app with confidence, knowing that when your users are experiencing issues, you'll be the first to know. Last but not least, Firebase Crashlytics. It gives you a complete view into your app's stability, so you can track, prioritize, and fix bugs that impact a large number of users. However, even with detailed and real-time crash report, troubleshooting usually requires you to jump between Crashlytics console and your IDE to locate the error and debug it. Now, this can be a frustrating experience because it's difficult to look at stack traces in a browser and then navigate through your code to find the right place to set point. That's why the new App Quality Insight window in Android Studio has been introduced. It helps you investigate, and reproduce issues reported by Crashlytics within the context of your local Android Studio project. It will also highlight problematic lines of code that have appeared in the crash report, so you can fix issues while you're building features. Next. That's it for me. Now onto Android.
Okay, بس let me share screen. اوكي، اول شيء بس قبل الاندرويد رح نحكي عن فلاتر، بعدين راح نفوت على اندرويد. اول شيء رح نحكي نعرف شوي نبذه سريعه عن فلاتر شو هو، وبعدين رح نفوت بالنيو ابديتس باخر جوجل اي او، اخر جوجل اي فيستيفال. اول شيء الفلاتر هو فريم ورك فور موبايل ديفلوبمنت. الكل اللي بيعرف انه يعني عندنا نوعين من الديفلوبمنت بالموبايل، في شيء اسمه هايبريد كود، في شيء اسمه نيتيف كود. النيتيف كود اللي هو يلي نحن نكتب مثلا كود وحيد مثلا الاندرويد ديفلوبمنت، اللي مثلا نكتب بلغه كوتلين او جافا، او يلي نكتب فيه اي او اس اللي هي سويفت او اوبجكتيف سي. الفلاتر الحلو فيه يلي النيو ابديت اللي هن عملوا الفلاتر كرماله، انه عملوا فريم ورك كامل بيكتبوا فيه هايبريد كود بشكل بيعطي ابلكيشن الاندرويد والاي او اس بنفس الوقت. اول لما بلشوا بالفلاتر، فرجيكم بس هالصوره. اول ما بلشوا بالفلاتر، اول ما نزل كانوا هن الهدف تبعهم الاساسي اللي انيشال ريليز كان بيعطي بس انه اندرويد واي او اس بس الكود اللي بيشتغل عليه. بعدين ضلوا يطوروا فيه، يعملوا ستيبل للريليز لوصلوا لوصلوا للفلاتر 2. هون بالفلاتر 2 صار في نيو ابديت انه قدروا الفلاتر يشتغل الكود منه بس اندرويد واي او اس، يشتغل على الديسكتوب اللي هو على الويندوز وعلى ويب سايت، يعني بشكل نفس الوقت نفس الكود حيقدر يكتب، حتكتبوه انتم بمره واحده وحيشتغل على اي او اس، اندرويد، ويب، وويندوز. هلا اخر فلاتر 3 اللي هن كانوا عم يحتفلوا فيه اخر مره اللي نزل كثير، كان في ابديتس قويه، انه صار في ستيبل فيرجن لللينكس للماك او اس. يعني صار هن قدروا اخر مره انه يعملوا الفلاتر 3 يكون ستيبل ل 6 بلاتفورم، اللي هن كل شيء في بلاتفورم تقريبا موجود من اهم واشهر بلاتفورم موجودين هلا على وجه الارض: اندرويد، اي او اس، والويب، ويندوز، لينكس، والماك او اس. هول كانوا من اهم، كان هذا اهم ابديت نزل بفلاتر هيدي السنه. والحلو انه هلا هالسنه كمان كانوا بالجوجل اي او كانوا عم يحتفلوا انه صار في اكثر من 500 الف ابلكيشن built with Flutter. من اول الابديت يلي كان اهم شيء عم يركزوا عليه بقلب فلاتر جوجل اي او اللي هي الفلاتر فاير يو اي. كل اللي بيعرف شو هو الفاير بيز كان بيحكي لنا عنها جاد من شوي. صار في مثل ستيبل فيرجن بين فلاتر والفاير بيز، عملوا باكج جديده اسمها فلاتر فاير يو اي. صار دغري بيعطينا مثل تمبلت جاهز بين فلاتر وفاير بيز مربوطين على بعضهم، وكل الكود وكل شيء، بس واحد بصير بده يعدل. بس صار بنفس الوقت عنده النال سيفتي. هاي ابديت جديده بعد ما نزل النال سيفتي، اذا بتشوفوا هون يزيدوا النال سيفتي ليكي هون. كرمال هيك عملوا نيو ابديت من الفلاتر فاير. صارت هيدي خلص يعني مثل فيرجن يعني معترف فيها انه فلاتر مع فاير بيز حيشتغلوا تمام التمام وما في اي ايرور بين بعضهم. او كمان من القصص اللي زادت بالفلاتر 3 انه صار في عندي الاكسسبيلتي على الديسكتوب ابلكيشنز، لان سيرفيسز مثل حيلا مثلا نحن نعرف حيلا ابلكيشن ممكن نستخدم فيه هاردوير، يعني مثلا باركود سكانر مثلا في كثير محلات اللي نروح نشتري منهم وكذا، بيكون في عندنا مثلا باركود سكانر مشان قصة الايتمز وكذا. بيكون مثلا عندنا برينتر، حيلا هيك هاردوير ديفايسز صار معهم بقلب الفلاتر، مع انه الفلاتر يو اي بس انه قدروا بالفلاتر 3 انه يدخلوا كل شيء، يعملوا اكسسبيلتي لكل شيء. ممكن نجيب نحن هاردوير من برا نقدر نربطهم على فلاتر ابلكيشن ويشتغل معنا تمام التمام، ما يكون في اي تعرض. وهالشيء جدا هلا عم يستخدموه انه يحاولوا يربطوا حيلا هاردوير على حيلا ابلكيشن. هذا اكثر شيء هلا دارج بقصه الموبايل ابلكيشن بشكل عام يعني. وفي شغله جديده ضافوها كمان بقلب الفلاتر 3 اللي هي عملوا سبورت للفولدبل فونز. اللي ما بيعرف شنو الفولدبل فونز، هن التليفونات اللي هلا عم تنزل جديد اللي هي قابله للطي، مثل سامسونج فولد زد فولد اللي بيعرفوا، مثل هول التليفونات. قبل مثلا نحن كنا شاشه وحده كيو اي، فبدنا نتصمم في تصميم معين. اما هلا زادوا قصه مثل نيو زادوا قصص جديده بقلب فلاتر، نقدر نعمل يو اي للفولد ديفايسز. بيصيروا مثلا لما يكون مطوية الشاشه، اذا في هون شي صوره دقيقه، اوكي. المهم بيكون مثلا اذا كانت مطوية الشاشه بيكون مثلا في عنا فيو معينه، وبس ترجع تنفتح الشاشه كلها بيصير في فيو تاني، لما بيصير بتكون الشاشه اكبر. وإسا في اللي هو أهم كمان من أهم شيء صار بفلاتر 3 فوتوا الماتيريال ديزاين 3. هلا ماتيريال ديزاين 3 هو يو اي للاندرويد، هو لجوجل، تابع لجوجل كلياته، بس إنه على طول بيحاولوا يعني الماتيريال ديزاين لما يعملوا له ابديت بيفوتوه بكل شيء تكنولوجيز بقلب جوجل. الاندرويد هو اهم شيء، وفوتوه اكيد بفلاتر 3 اللي هو عاملين عليه ديزاين، اللي هلا ببعت هاللينك مشان الكل يستفاد. هيدا حاطين فيه كتير بطن جداد، ويعني حاطين ديزاين، عاملين ديزاين طويل عريض جديد. اللي هن كمان اول دغري بفلاتر 3 انه هو كان اهمه كان انه يحسن اليو اي بقلب الابلكيشنز تبع فلاتر. في شغله كمان اللي هي الثيم اكستنشنز، اللي هي نحن صار في عندنا بقلب فلاتر نقدر نعمل حيلا ثيم بدنا اياه يبين لنا كثير بقصص اليو اي. هيدا كمان كتير ساعد ديفلوبرز بقصة اليو اي انه ما كتير يسهل عليهم شغل قد ما في يسهل عليهم شغل، وما كتير يتعذبوا بقصص اليو اي. وكمان فاتوا على موضوع جديد فلاتر ما شاء الله ما مخليين شيء لهم فايتين فيه، اللي هن الجيمز. فلاتر فاتت بعملت كت اسمها كاجوال جيمز تول كت. هيدا صار بتخولها تقدر تعمل جيمز مثلا مثل بابجي، مثل حيلا العاب، حاطين مثل قالن مثل ريبوزيتوري على جيت هاب مثل سامبل مشان يبلشوا بهالموضوع، بلشوا قد ما فيهم يحاولوا يفوتوا بهالمجال الالعاب. وبتعرفوا قديش إن قصه الالعاب هلا دارجه، وقديش الابلكيشن بس يكون مثلا اليو اي كيف ممكن اذا كان اداء كتير قوي ممكن اللعبه تحقق نجاحات. هلا حاولت، هذا اهم شيء اكيد. هسه في كتير قصص مرقت بفلاتر، نزلت ابديتس كتحسين بيرفورمانس، كتثبيت اخطاء، واكيد هسه يعني مع الوقت بيطلع في اخطاء بيصلحوها. بس تقريبا يعني فينا نقول انه هلا بهالفتره خلص فلاتر صار جاهز لحيلا حدا بقى يبلش فيه ويستخدمه ليعمل ديفلوب لابلكيشنز على 6 بلاتفورم، ويكون هو مرتاح انه كلياته بيشتغل معه وما في معه اي غلط. ريهام فين نبلش الاندرويد؟
Thank you, Ibrahim. Yeah, I will share my screen. Okay, let's go على the new updates بالأندرويد. Android is the favorite technology for many developers. أحكي أول شيء عن جات باك كومبوز. اللي ما بيعرف شو هو جات باك كومبوز، هو a modern UI modern toolkit for building native UI. هو بيخفف علينا boiler code وبنقدر with it to accelerate our UI development on Android with less code, powerful tools, and powerful Kotlin APIs. Jetpack Compose 1.0 was released around 1 year ago. This year in Google I/O 2022, Beta 1.2 is announced. Many improvements and stuff were added for Beta 1.2، بس أنا حابة أحكي عن two stuffs اللي هني downloadable fonts والlazy grids. شو قصة downloadable fonts؟ هلا باستخدام Jetpack Compose 1.2 بيتا قادرين نحن كdevelopers to use APIs to easy access Google Fonts. هذا الشيء حيخفف أو بالأحرى will make our APK the application APK size smaller. بصير نستخدم نحن API to use the fonts on the Android application. This will save storage space and will decrease also the internet bandwidth for our users. تاني شغلة هي lazy grids. Lazy grids هي a big improvement to in Compose، لأنه lazy grids provide flexible layouts that adapt to different screen sizes. يعني when ما كان the user is using our application إذا كان على التابلت or على الفون with different screen sizes, now with lazy grids using UIs is easier. تاني شغلة بدي أحكي عنها هي the Google Wallet. Google Wallet basically was introduced ب 2011 وكانت عم تخلينا to make payments and store our debt and credit card. من 2011 ل 2018 it went through many improvements. ل 2018 it was replaced by Google Pay. أما now ب 2022 فجوجل Wallet is back ب new features. Google عم جرب to replace our physical wallet with a trustful Google Wallet. حتى in the United States of America بلشوا considering هالموضوع إنه instead of holding our driver license in our physical wallet, we can use the Google Wallet to store our driver license and show it as a QR code. Now with Google Wallet, we can store our national ID, our driver license, our vaccine cards, our loyalty cards, and boarding passes. طيب نحن كديفلوبرز شو بيهمنا بهالموضوع أو what we care about? Now Google Pay Passes API is called Google Wallet API. The old Pay API is still working, but it upgraded to the Google Wallet API when you launch it. وحتى there's a new SDK Android SDK بتخلينا to save the passes على الابليكيشن من دون back end integration. ثالث شيء بدي أحكي عنه هو الأندرويد ستوديو. Android Studio is having more improvements with the newer versions. One of these improvements هو the Java Compose. هلا we can make code changes to the when we are using composables in Android Studio بنفس الوقت to see how the changes دغري live. كمان a new resizable emulator was added for larger screens. يعني مثلا إذا كنتوا you are developing applications for Android TV or maybe for just tablets, now the emulators have resizable and bigger screens. الشيء الأخير اللي بدي أحكي عنه هو the Android 13 beta, which is kind of the most exciting news. Android 13 beta is here. نحن هلا بجون بلش the platform stability راح يكون في final release له بآخر جولاي. بأندرويد 13 زادوا أو اشتغلوا more on the security stuff. يعني مثلا نحن بنعرف إذا في أي application بدنا to give it our gallery permission إنه يفوتوا على our gallery to مثلا أي application WhatsApp to send an image بدنا نعطي the permission to WhatsApp for all our gallery. أما نحن هلا بالأندرويد 13 بيتا في هيدي السكيورتي اللي بتقلق كتير من الناس. Now there's no need to give it the permission for all our storage. We can just give it permission to take just one photo and then it doesn't have the permission anymore. كمان كانوا عم يشتغلوا على layouts to make it more customizable for the users. So مثلا إذا عندك أنت Android device that is depending on Android 13, now you can change the theme to make it more customizable for you. وفي كمان something you can have applications with different languages. مثلا if you are هون نحن مثلا in the Arabic region, we want to use our WhatsApp in the Arabic language, بس بنفس الوقت في other applications مثلا الفيسبوك we want to use it in English language. فصار فينا مش ضروري بالsettings لما نغير language كل الlanguages لكل applications تتغير. لا صار فينا هلا إنه just كل application نحن بنختار which language it used. So we're waiting for the final release in the end of July. I know that's not everything in Google I/O, and Google I/O has a lot more of announcements in different technologies, مش بس بهول technologies that we addressed. But this is all from our side, from our GDSC Lebanon chapters, and thank you.